everyone, so I want to show you how to calculate the correlation coefficient and find a line of best fit or an equation of best fit using a TI-84 calculator. So I'm going to be using this data. Imagine this is the number of canned beverages sold at school and then the number that are recycled. So you can make a scatter plot by hand, but I'm going to put it in the calculator. So remember, the way you enter data in the calculator is you go to the stat button here. So I'm going to do stat and then hit enter on edit. If there's already some data there, just click up, clear, and enter, and it'll clear out the whole list for you. So I'm going to put in 18, 15, 19, 8, 10, 13, 9, and 14. All right, and then the y values were 8, 6, 10, 6, 3, 7, 5, and 4. Make sure those line up so you put everything in. All right, and then you can do a lot of things with this data, and one thing is graph it. If you want to graph it, that happens up here with stat plot. First thing you may want to do is make sure you don't have any equations in y equals, so if there's anything in here, you'd want to clear it out. And then if you go to stat plot, so second stat plot, this is how you can graph statistics. So I'm going to turn this first stat plot on. If it wasn't on, like if it were highlighted off, I would want to turn it on. And then you get to choose which type of data graph you want. I'm going to click the first one, which is a scatter plot. So hit enter. It's going to pull the x values from list 1 and the y values from list 2, which is good. That's what I want. And if you hit graph, you might have an issue. Like, where's my data? It's because my graph currently isn't showing all the data because those were some pretty big numbers. So if you want to fit the statistics perfectly, click zoom. And if you go down to number 9, zoom stat will fit your statistics perfectly. You can also just hit the number 9. So there we go. There's my scatter plot, and I can hit trace and kind of trace along those points if I wanted to. If I want to fit a line to this, we go back to the stat button and over to calculate, and you'll actually see what we need right there. We want a linear regression line. So I'll go down to number 4 and hit enter, and there's my linear regression line. It's giving it the equation ax plus b, where a is 0.387 and b is 0.991 approximately. So if I want to graph this, I could go to y equals and type in 0.387x. I know this is rounding, but 0.387x plus, and the y-intercept was about 0.991. And then hit graph, and you'll see that line graphed through the data. It's a perfect line of best fit. It's a regression line. If you want to actually calculate the correlation coefficient, you have to turn on the diagnostics. The easiest way I've found to do that is just to go to the catalog, which has literally everything in the calculator in alphabetical order. So you do second catalog, scroll down to the D's, or just hit the D button here, and do diagnostics on. That'll allow you to calculate the correlation coefficient. So then when you do stat calculate the linear regression line, it actually pulls up the R value. So this is a pretty good fit. It's fairly strong and it's positive. It's a 0.7 correlation coefficient, which is what we saw in the graph. By the way, you don't have to just do linear ones. You can also calculate, so stat calculate, all sorts of other regression equations. You've got quadratic, cubic, quartic, exponential, log, sine, all sorts of things. So if we wanted to try a different one, like a quadratic, let's see how good that does. So anyway, that is how you do regression equations in the TI-84.